What's up, everybody? Good evening. Once again, we're doing a later than usual video here because something has happened. And this something doesn't directly impact the Seahawks in any real way. This is something that is kind of intriguing to us, I think, as a fan base. I think that we, as Seahawks fans, want to see how this plays out. But it doesn't actually affect the Seahawks in any way that I can think of. Not even as, like, some kind of chain reaction. So this is just kind of for our entertainment, for our interest. Our old quarterback has found a new home already. It happened fairly quickly here. It looked like he visited with, I want to say, 2 or 3 teams, and the choice was made. So, per Adam Schefter, just like 5 minutes ago, made this video right after I saw the tweet, Russell Wilson is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, according to Schefter, he's taking a team-friendly 1-year deal. Now, they don't say what that team-friendly moniker exactly means, but Schefter does say the Broncos will end up paying $38 million of his salary, which implies that he's taking the veteran minimum, which there was no reason for him to take anything else than that, right? Because any money he makes from his new team is going to come out of what the Broncos were going to pay him. So he was making the exact same amount of money no matter what. So he does stick the Broncos with the maximum possible bill, which, I mean, that's the way to play it, right? That's the Michael Corleone move. So Russell Wilson does find a home. I thought he was going to go to the Raiders. The Steelers, there were a lot of sources coming from that team that were indicating that they really wanted to see what Kenny Pickett would do with Arthur Smith, and I believed it. I thought that they were bringing in Arthur Smith in large part to try to fix Kenny Pickett before they bailed on him. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and get the jump start on that process now, because hard for me to believe Russell Wilson would sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers unless he thought for sure that he was going to get the starting job there. I don't think he's going there to be a backup. I don't think he'd go anywhere to be a backup. So seems like they're getting started on their process of moving off of Kenny Pickett now, which I certainly can't blame them because he's Kenny Pickett. But still thought maybe they'd try one last reclamation project with Arthur Smith. But it's an interesting fit. Again, this is just kind of something for our entertainment, for kind of, and it's interesting, right? It's going to be interesting to see how this goes for Russell Wilson as Seahawks fans. We don't even play the Steelers this year. So we're not going to play Russell Wilson this year, it looks like. So even on that level, we don't really have any direct interest here. But what's going to happen? How's it going to play out? How is this very interesting story going to end? So Pittsburgh, they obviously got some pretty good receivers. Pickens is good. Deontay Johnson is on the trade block, so they might lose him. But Pittsburgh generally always has good receivers. They got some pretty good tight ends as well with Darnell and, of course, Freiermuth. I don't like that offensive line, though, I'll tell you. That's kind of my thing here. I'm looking at that Steelers offensive line, and it's okay. Like, the interior's pretty decent, but the tackles are not there yet. And their right tackle, what's his name, Broderick Jones, he might improve because he was a highly drafted player. He should get a little bit better over the next couple years. But I don't look at that offensive line and go, that's better than what he had in Denver. I don't think it is. The receivers are better. The tight ends are better. The coaching, I don't know. I don't think it's worse necessarily. And Arthur Smith is a very prolific offensive coordinator. And I know everybody's going to like bag on Arthur Smith because he had such a bad time in Atlanta and some things that happened in Atlanta went so weird. But he is a good offensive coordinator. And this might be the kind of situation. Sorry if you can hear my dog, by the way. This might be the kind of situation where things can work out okay because Pittsburgh does have a good defense. And what they do, I mean, they were able to win games with their quarterbacks last year. They had as bad of a QB rotation as you can have last year, and they still made the playoffs. So if they can keep games close and Wilson can pull out some wins at the end of games, then that's probably going to work out fairly well. That is something that he did fairly well in Denver last year. He did have a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks, a lot of game-winning drives. But it was the body of work outside of those game-winning drive games that ended up getting him in the position that he was at the end of the year. So it can work. I still I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me that you would hire Arthur Smith and then go get a stopgap solution at quarterback because it's a 1-year deal. So I would think you would do a hire like Arthur Smith if you have a guy that you're trying to fix like Kenny Pickett, or you're getting a new franchise guy and you want Arthur Smith to kind of build around that guy, build around him for the next couple of years and try to develop him. I think it's kind of interesting that you hire a guy like that and then do a reclamation project like this. But it's better than what they had, it seems. So you can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with improving, and you can't go wrong with the price. So Wilson has finessed the Broncos for a lot of money, and now he gets to pay those dollars forward to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they get his services for what looks like to be the veteran minimum. So let me know what you guys think down below. I'm kind of happy this happened now, by the way. Happy that it happened now because it's not going to interfere with the coverage of free agency this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be all about free agency across the NFL, mostly focusing on the Seahawks from my perspective, of course. If this had happened midweek, then that would have been dominating the conversation. But not so now. We get to know about this beforehand, process it, and move on to stuff that actually directly relates to the Seahawks. So people were saying Atlanta. People were saying it might have been Atlanta, but it looks like they are ultimately going to land with Justin Fields. I thought it was going to be the Raiders, but he ends up with the Steelers. And I'm interested, right? Like, it's been a fascinating story these last 2 years. It's been great theater. It's been great theater what happened in Denver, but there's another season still left in this story. So catch y'all later. Go Hawks. Setting up for free agency streams tomorrow. And yeah, our former quarterback finds a new home. How will it go?